Hello everyone. If you are watching the replay and you want to post questions here, make sure that you go to the PNP Groupies group in Facebook. We have a wonderful free little community where you can post questions about Facebook Lives, you can post questions about the podcast, things like that. As people are coming in, I'm Corinne Crabtree. I run pnp411.com, where I have a free weight loss course because I lost 100 pounds myself 13 years ago, and now I help women lose weight. And I talk about it from a very different perspective than most people, which is we talk a lot about the mental game, like getting your mental game going, getting your mind right, and all that kind of good stuff. Good morning, everyone that's coming in. Today I wanted to talk about something that I thought was really interesting, because in my tribe we have been having, we have this discussion a lot, and so I'm kind of hoping, I was like scanning the names as they're coming in. I'm looking for a couple of, hey Sierra, oh my gosh Sierra, I was thinking about you yesterday. It's so funny because I was like, I have not seen her post and I almost tagged you in a post, so I'm really glad you're here. But anyway, so that was like random squirrel moment. But anyway, I was hoping that a couple of the girls that I've been talking to about this concept will come in here. We've been discussing the difference between white knuckling and sitting with having food urges or wanting to overeat, or that moment when you just want the burger or you just want to have French fries, just whatever it is. Maybe you just want to have wine at night. No matter what that moment is, what is the difference between the two? And so, like, I was thinking about this concept as I was doing my own work on myself. And one of the thoughts that came up for me was, I don't want to think about losing weight all the time. Now, I think about it in a very different perspective because, like, it is my business and it is my, it's what I do, is help women lose weight. But when you do it all the time, you naturally start like thinking about, should I be doing better? Should I be doing this? And I got to where I was looking at a lot of the things that I journal, and there was like this constant talk about my own, maintenance, my own, like, do I want to lose 5 more pounds? Just all kinds of junk, right? And I thought, this is not a helpful thought. Like, I was sitting there really thinking about it and realizing how it seems so innocent. And I think that is a problem for a lot of my clients, is that we go through this thing where we feel like we have to think about weight loss all the time. And if we're not thinking about it, then we're probably just going to be off the rails, or we're going to just eat all the food or whatever. But I think that thought is one of the things that drives us to think about saying no to the foods we want in a very white knuckly way. Because if you think about it, when you're thinking about, I just don't want to think about weight loss all the time, or I don't want to think about what I'm eating all the time, or I don't want to do all this stuff all the time, it's a very frustrating thought. And when you're very frustrated, or you live in low-level frustration, what ends up happening is you seek the foods that you want for relief. You start wanting to overeat more. You start throwing in the towel because you're constantly living in this frustration. So I was like, so what is the fix? And so, like, I was looking at my own stuff and I said, this thought comes up for me most often when I'm in the throes of deciding, am I going to follow my plan or not? It is like rarely anything that I think about when I am like working or sitting, like having an easy day, taking a shower. Like, I'm not sitting around going, I wish I wasn't thinking about weight loss all the time. Like, I think it comes up more often than not when we actually are having cravings, or when we're thinking about wanting to overeat, or thinking about, like in a very negative light, wanting to lose weight. And so my thought that I went with, and I wanted to give it to you guys because I thought it might be helpful, is I am willing to think about something else right now and just leave it at that. I'm just willing to think about something else right now. Every time you're coming through a cycle of like, I really want to have chips. I really want to eat more food. I really want to do this. And you know this is not part of your plan. You go through and you just say like, I'm just willing to think about something else right now. Or you can even add on to it, I'm willing to think about something else right now, and I'm also not going to eat. So how does this tie into willpower and willpower, white knuckling, or sitting with your cravings, sitting with your urges? We call it in PNP Tribe, we call it discomfort. Yesterday, I threw out a quick worksheet for girls that were really having a hard time with this. Guys, I'm going to be getting back into that thread later today. I've been coaching my face off on some of you because I find this concept to be a game changer. So one of the things that I will be working on in our next big coursework and stuff is we're going to do a big lesson on what is white knuckling, what is discomfort, manageable techniques, and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I encourage you guys to do is like to think about in those moments when you are faced with your cravings, faced with your urges and stuff, to just stop yourself and say, I'm going to have an urge, I'm going to have a craving, and there's two ways it's going to go down. It's going to be butt-ass hard. There's actually three. Butt-ass hard, because I'm going to sit here and think, I wish this wasn't happening. This is too hard. This is unfair. I wish I didn't think about weight loss all the time. Like, all of those thoughts are going to come up. You don't need to have them. You don't even need to attach to them. If they come, you just tell yourself, I'm a big-ass girl, and I don't have to sit here and feel bad just because I had a thought. Here's what I can do. I'm choosing consciously, I'm just going to think about something else. I'm willing to think about other things right now. Because here's the thing, you'll never quit obsessing over it until you start redirecting yourself to a new direction. You will always focus, you will always obsess, you will always do those things until you start doing something different. People crack me up. Like my tribe, we coach on this all the time. They're like, how do I quit wanting something? It's like, it's really simple. Every time you want it, you have to quit like just going down the same path. Like, you're gonna want a donut every morning if every damn morning you eat a donut. There's gonna be a week where you're gonna have to not eat donuts and be like, I'm gonna have to be sitting here very uncomfortable. I'm gonna have to sit here and every time I say, I wish I was the kind of person that could eat a donut, say, I'm willing to think about something else right now. That's not helping. Because here's the thing, nobody wants to be the kind of person who can eat a donut every day. You want to be the kind of person who doesn't want a donut every day. I want everybody to really think about that. Is it that you want all, like I want to be able to eat all these foods? Or is it, I wish I was the kind of person who just didn't want all these foods? And the only way to get there, seriously, is you have to pay the price of discomfort. Most of you are paying the price of white knuckling, and you don't have much currency. Discomfort is sitting there going, I'm trying to become the person who doesn't want the donut. And that's never an easy job. And I don't have to think about this right now. I can redirect my thoughts. That donut thought may come in for the next 3 straight hours on the minute, every minute, and then every minute on the minute. That gives me, 60 minutes times 3, 180 opportunities to tell my brain to go think about something else. I have now practiced how to go and redirect my brain somewhere else 180 damn times. And if that's what it takes, here's my question. Are you willing to be the person who says, I'm willing to think about something else? Are you willing to pay that price? Or are you the person who's going to whine that you have to pay that price? Because if you're going to be consumed with whining about it and whatnot, you're not going to win. You're only shooting yourself in the foot. So when those urges come, you have the tantrum you get to throw, you get to wish that it wasn't there, you get to spin out all of your you blow through all of the willingness, you blow through all of your focus, you waste your opportunity to redirect your mind. You're centrally focusing your mind on exactly what you don't want, all of your pain. what you guys tell me is like, you just wish that saying no was a lot less painful. It's like, yeah, then make it less painful by not sitting there obsessing over it. Allowing yourself to be like, it may take 180 redirects. That's not exhausting unless I bitch about it. It literally isn't. Like, how many times have you told your kids, quit fighting? What if they said, but it's exhausting not to fight, but I want to fight. Come on. You would not tolerate that. You'd be like, go do something else. Be nice to your brother. You're instructing them to redirect their brains. You would never let them throw the tantrum you throw about, I really want that donut. So you have to think about those things. The other option is to just eat. Just have it, which gets you nowhere but a bunch of doo-doo shame. Practicing one more time that if you cause yourself a lot of pain and you also throw a big-ass tantrum, you get what you want on top of a bunch of shit you don't want. And then the third option is to do like what I'm teaching you. Redirect, redirect, redirect. And this is not a fancy-ass technique, guys. This literally is what they teach in meditation. In meditation, one of the things that they teach about is, you know, like clearing your mind and whatnot. One of the goals in meditation is not so that you sit there and that you zone out and you're Zen master. The goal of meditation is to be so consciously aware of your brain that you know it's going someplace you don't want it to, and you can steer it to where you do. And when you meditate, it throws you into an immediate practice of learning how, in a small chunk of time, how to redirect your brain a lot. So that's one of the reasons why I do it. I do it because, like, the 10 minutes that I'm meditating, oh my gosh, it is like, well, y'all know me. I mean, I hear every airplane, I see every squirrel, I talk about half of them when I'm doing these lives. The whole, like, purpose of it is so that during that 10 minutes, if I have to bring my brain back to what I'm trying to do in my meditation 40 times, I got 40 opportunities to notice when I'm not focused, when I'm not thinking about what I want to be thinking about. That applies to your food. If you don't want to be thinking about your weight loss in a frustrating way all the time, if you learn how to start noticing when you're going down a shitty path with your thinking around food and can redirect it to where you want to go with it, it's a game changer. I was doing a call last night with Jill Angie of Not Your Average Runner. She has a podcast and she has a group, and we share a lot of stuff with each other's groups because she coaches women of all sizes to run, and I work with, you know, women of all sizes to lose weight. And so we were talking about, you know, just like with your mind, and how one of the biggest game changers for me when it came to weight loss was I quit thinking about just wanting to lose weight. I started thinking about wanting to be an athlete, because I'd never played sports a day in my life. At 250, it was a dream of mine to exercise. But I had always been so out of shape, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even know where to start. So I just started with walking. And when I started my stuff, one of the things that I did was I didn't change my food in the beginning. But because I kept thinking about wanting to feel better, like I just wanted to feel better. I was so depressed and I was so overweight. Guys, I've been overweight all my life. I had been 250 several times from the age of 20 up. When I was 9, I started gaining weight. When I was in the 8th grade, I weighed 210. So I know what it's like to be 250 pounds. I also know what it's like to be depressed and exhausted, worried what people will think, and all this other kind of stuff. But I went to the gym anyway, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to start doing something better for myself. And I redirected my brain even back then. This is before I knew all this bullshit. I was just doing it naturally. I knew one of the keys for me with weight loss was going to be I was going to have to not think about it the way I'd always done, as desperate attempts, that I had to do it or I was going to be a failure. Like, I took the pressure off of myself, and I started redirecting my brain where I wanted to go. I want to feel good. I want to wake up each day and I want to feel good. I want to be an athlete. How does an athlete eat? They're not scared of food. You know what they do? They eat so that they feel amazing. That's had me start re-engineering the foods I was choosing. It's all about looking at things in a new light for yourself. And I don't care what size you are, guys. You don't have to use my athlete thing. It can be anything. Like, I want to wake up each day and things not hurt anymore. Or I want to wake up each day with 30% less pain than I'm suffering right now because I've lost some weight. So those are some of the things I would really, really encourage you guys to do, is just notice where you go with your head when a craving strikes, and be willing to tell yourself, I'm willing to think about something else right now. I'm willing to let go of my obsessions around it. I'm willing to think about where I want to be rather than what I'm not having. And then, like, well, I'll save this for the tribe. Been thinking about Arusha, if she gets to hear this one, and Sonia, about the stories around what we tell ourselves about these foods and what they do and all this other stuff. You guys keep talking about your overeating foods as if it's true that they are the best option in the moment or the easiest and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, tell me how that is helping you. It's not, so quit typing it and reiterating it. Anyway, that's a whole nother live best say for the tribe. We will, maybe I'll put that in tomorrow night's self-talk training that we're doing, guys. All right, let's go back up and see what you guys are talking about. Take my sunglasses off. If you, while I'm looking for things, guys, oh gosh, there's so many comments. If you are new to me and you're curious about things, go to pnp411.com. You can get my free course. You can go and listen to my podcast, which is Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. And if anybody wants to type in some of that stuff, you can. Jamie, who is a PNP groupie, that means that she belongs to our Facebook group that's for all, like, the people who just listen to the podcast and stuff. I'm not over there. I rarely post in there, but we do share the podcast there, and it's for women who want to really understand the things that I teach. But every now and then I pop in. You never know. Got that job, but it's been very stressful, and I went down the rabbit hole, crawling my way out, though, baby steps. Oh, okay, good, Jamie. You got your job. My Facebook Live, my first Facebook Live is a PNP tribe member. That's awesome. If you are a tribe member, that means that you are one of my girls who belongs to my private membership where I teach and coach, and we do events. We do all kinds of amazing things. Let's see. Trying to find some questions. You look so healthy and gorgeous this morning. Oh my gosh, it's amazing, because I literally I woke up late today. My sinuses are a little on the cray-cray right now, like right through here. I'm just like, you can almost see the water bags. It's insane. But I've got as you know, Judy, I'm a Josie Marin girl. I got my Josie Marin faux tan on. Everybody's always like, how do you get so tan? Jennifer says, it becomes an obsession in a good and bad way, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's always this way. So, like, I don't like to think of, like, thinking about losing weight and whatnot as an obsession. I like to think of it as, like, this is my healthy habit, and, like, it's something I'm super interested in. I always like to keep myself, like, thinking about it in a way that's so productive and that leaves me feeling good, versus I have to think about it in an exhausting, frustrating, or fearful way. I see a lot of women get lost in losing weight, and they're hanging on by tooth and nail because they're so afraid that if they're not just all up in it all the time, then they'll go back to who they were. And I just encourage people to be like, learn all you can and stuff, but start working on believing in yourself that you're creating a lifestyle that's here to stay. I often find the people that are the most obsessed are the people who are doing something that if you were to ask them, are you going to do this until you're like 85? They would be a hell no. Or they're like, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. And then like when I lose my weight, I'm going to figure out how to keep it off or whatever. It's like, why not just learn how to lose weight in the way you're going to keep doing it so you never have to like relearn everything again? It's like, is learning how to lose weight so much damn fun that you want to learn it over and over again? Usually not. Let's see. Do you use your Apple earbuds during exercise? Do they hang in there? Yes, I use them during my exercise. I run. I did sprints with them in yesterday. These are one of the things that they just don't fall out. I don't know how they did it, but it must be the way that they've got them counterbalanced or something. They don't go anywhere. Let's see. This is the live I'm really needing. I've lost 55 pounds, but old habits have been finding their way back. Erin, I want you to watch that thought. Old habits don't find their way in. That's never going to be anything to think that's going to help you. It will feel as if it's happening to you, like you have no control. They're just coming back. I knew they would. Like, that gets you into that scared ass mentality really quick. You want to tell yourself, I keep choosing to eat these things, or I keep choosing this old habit. Why? Like, figure out why you're doing it and just start telling yourself, that's a behavior I don't do anymore. I just had a moment. That's not something I'm going to do. And you start redirecting and regrouping yourself back to what you were doing. And you tell yourself, I was doing these other habits because they made me feel this way. I really enjoyed them because these were the payoffs. A lot of times you guys forget, you get so caught up in what your mistakes are, and you start going down the rabbit hole of how terrible it is. It must be a sign I'm going back. I can't control this. You'll spiral out of control. You start taking all of your focus and putting it onto exactly what you do not want, rather than being like, it's really interesting that I've decided to start eating, like not making my plans anymore. Why have I decided to do that? How can I get that back on track? How can I start very small so that I can start recreating the habit that I want? The good thing about habits is just like the old habits and the new habits, right? Is if you think about it, if the old habits are easy to come back, so are the new ones. If you've been practicing those, it doesn't take much. I want you to think about habits, guys, on both ends. It starts with very tiny little quits. And that reminds your brain, oh, we used to do it this way. We used to not write our food down. So you didn't write your food down today. Maybe in 3 days we won't do it again. And then the next thing you know, we're stringing 2 days together, stuff like that. The same thing happens when you're going to go back to an effective habit that you've had. You start really small and your brain's like, oh, I remember when we used to write our food down every day. It starts repriming your brain to go into that direction. If you have worn patterns, good or bad, in your brain, when it is associated with weight loss, any of them can be rekindled. You guys put so much, like, you act like habits control you. It's like, it's not really controlling you. You're always deciding. But you get it caught up in your mind that you're not responsible. You just decide, like, if I can easily plug in an old bad habit, I can also easily plug in the new effective habit. The only thing it takes is me doing the work. Everything else around it is my drama about it. It's so hard. I'm going to be miserable, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I love listening to my clients bitch and moan about the 24-hour plan. If you, sometimes if you go into the tribe, you would think I'm asking them, all right, every morning, here's what I want you to do. I want you to cut your arm open, draw the blood, and write your 24-hour plan. Like, that is not what we're doing. We're spending about 90 seconds of our day deciding ahead of time what we'll eat. So the rest of the goddamn day, we don't have to think about food. It's like, that's what we're doing. But to hear it from somebody else, it's like, but I don't have time, and if I write down something and I'm not going to want it at lunch, then I'm going to have to break my plan, and I don't know if I want to do that, and oh my God, I just ordered a new planner, and what if I make a handwriting typo and it looks ugly? Like, all of that, I'm just like, It took you longer to argue and negotiate not doing it than it would have to just write it down. So that is what I want you guys to think about. How often, like when we think about, do you want to be thinking about losing weight all the time? How often are you just in the drama part of it? Like, I would just suggest skipping that. Just catch yourself and be like, well, that's a poor use of my time. I'm willing to think about something else. Or I'm just willing to be like, look, I'm going to write down the plan. The worst that's going to happen is I don't follow it. The best thing that could happen is I follow it half the time, all the time. Make some progress. Practice writing some shit down. Like take out your own steam. All right. What is white knuckling? White knuckling, guys, is where it feels really hard and dramatic to not eat something. So, like, it is, white knuckling comes up when you're trying to lose weight, and let's say that let's say this week you're going to eat like a salad for lunch, and you're going to have, I don't know, let's say grilled chicken and a baked potato and something else for dinner, but you want pizza. And like by the fourth day, you're sitting there and it's time to have your chicken and your baked potato and stuff, and you really want that pizza. White knuckling would be like, oh, this sucks. I'm the only one that has to eat this way. Everybody else gets to have pizza. It's not fair that so-and-so is eating pizza. Like, you go through all this mental drama, and you're like, I'm not having it. I just don't want to think about that stuff all the time. And like, that is white knuckling. It feels exhausting. Like, you will feel in your body very often. People who are white knuckling will feel antsy, fidgety. Some of my girls who are like when it comes to like sugar or certain foods will sweat a little. Like, they'll get worked up on the inside, and it's all like they'll feel anxious, or like they're having to grit their teeth. It's a very exhausting process. Sitting with discomfort is, it's time to eat that chicken, it's time to eat that potato, and the other person's eating the pizza, and you catch yourself thinking those things, and you say, that's just not helpful. Like, the only reason why I'm eating chicken and a baked potato is because I know it's a better choice. I'm done not having, like, eating things just because someone else is. And you start telling yourself the reasons why you're doing it, and you're like, yeah, and it's going to feel like some ass. The worst that's going to happen is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to keep thinking about the pizza. I'm going to keep thinking about the pizza. You tell yourself literally, that is the worst thing that's going to happen. But you keep moving forward. A lot of times when people are white knuckling, what they do is they either give in because they're so afraid of how hard it might be without even giving themselves the opportunity to experience what it's going to be like. Or what they do is they will not give in, and they will make it so exhausting, and then afterward, rather than being proud of themselves, they'll immediately start thinking about the next time they're going to have to say no to something. Or they're going to remember it as being too hard and stuff. And one of the things that I'm going to start teaching in the tribe is, what do you do after those experiences? And what you do after those experiences is a total game changer. Tell that craven, Satan, get behind me. You don't have power over me. What is it that we always say? Not today, Satan. Speaking of donuts, they have them in our teacher's lounge today, but I am here with you and don't even want one. Good deal. Let's see. A lot of groupies today. Let's see. Y'all are doing so good. All of you are talking about just different things that you're working on and stuff. It's so awesome. Meditation is a good way to practice allowing an urge to pass. You get a lot of opportunities in a short period of time. Yeah, and one of the things too, like, so I think meditation is a good tip. One of the things, Tribe, that if you decide, so next month we're doing a course on, we have a lot of our Tribe members with thyroid, diabetes, insulin problems, PCOS, who tons of inflammation. They want to try no sugar, no flour to see for health-wise if it can make a difference. So I have a course where I teach, like, not only just how to cut it out, but we're going to do it together because let's just face it, if you've been eating a lot of sugar and flour, you're going to feel like ass straight up for a little bit. Your body is going to need, like, get out, Satan. It's going to need to do that. I don't do no sugar, no flour myself. I have done it in the past, but I don't have issues with it, but I don't eat a lot of it either. It's just like one of those things where I manage my mind and I have my meals planned for me. But some of my girls, like, for health, really need it, and we've got girls that have done it. In that course, there is a huge lesson on urges, on like a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today. So you guys are going to get some really good info on allowing urges to pass. There's also a lesson in there about visualization. And that is some of the stuff that we're going to really spend some time on. I think meditation and visualization are very powerful tools for people when you are, when you've just, dealt with your weight all your life, when you feel like it's out of control or you don't have hope and whatnot. So I think that those two combined can be super powerful. And it takes, guys, the thing about it is a lot of people want to lose weight really easy. And I've just never seen people be able to take an easy route with weight loss and it work long term. And when I say work long term, I don't just mean getting into the size pants you want. It sucks a fat one to lose your weight and get there and you not be happy. We get so confused all the time that we think the only source of our pain is our weight. Our weight is a reflection of some pain we're not dealing with. And so when you lose the weight, guess what? That pain, if you didn't work on it, is still there. You were able to lose your weight, but you never really, you don't set yourself up to be happy. It's not that you won't be proud of your body, and it's not that it won't feel good to, strut into the regular clothes size stores and stuff like that. But unless you're planning on being naked all the time or shopping all the time or whatever, you won't feel amazing because all the other stuff is still left in your brain circulating. And a lot of times when you don't deal with a lot of stuff, you lose your weight, you move from being afraid that you're going to be overweight all your life to being afraid you're going to go back. So that's why it's so important to work on so much stuff when it comes to your mind as you're losing weight. And I think that what's really missing in the diet industry is they're not really teaching us the mental tools we need as we're losing the weight. So, like, my method is harder because it requires you to do a lot of work. It's funny because I think my method, you're not really all that hungry. Like, we eat when we get slightly hungry and we stop when we're satisfied. I mean, you can ask my girls, the majority of the eating that makes you miserable, that goes away, is like when I tell them we're not emotionally eating anymore, but we are going to be doing all this mental work. And that is a game changer. I will tell you, the girls in here that have lost like 50, 75, and 100 pounds, they will tell you they had all kinds of ups and downs throughout the process, but they kept going. And it was the process of learning how to think differently. Like, when they talk about what worked for them or what they most appreciated out of their journey, rarely do they say, well, what I really liked was that 2-to-2 thing. It's like, or I get to eat whatever I want. I want you to watch, like, Weight Watchers commercials, Jenny Craig commercials, things like that. All they do is they flash in front of your face. You get to have all the things that have made you overweight and lose weight. It's like, nobody is saying, like, we're going to learn how to eat better for ourselves. You don't have to give all this shit up overnight, but what you do need to do is you need to start redirecting your brain. You don't need to keep pizza in your life. I'm not saying you can't have pizza, but don't sell me on the idea that I need it. Sell me on the idea of I can have pizza when I choose and I no longer feel like I have to have it, or that I'm a weirdo if I'm not. Like, teach me how to think about food. Like, that's what's missing. So we do a lot of that work, and we're going to be doing a lot of that next month, because I think that when you have a lot of weight to lose, it's your mind. You got to lose your mental weight. Your body will follow. You lose your mental weight, your body will follow. Hey, Brenda. Let's see. Hey, Miss Ruth. Lisa. Let's see. Let's see. Good morning, Miss Jen Hunter. I needed to hear this morning. Losing weight is so overwhelming for me. Hey, Marissa. Yeah, like, if you aren't listening to the podcast, listen to the podcast. Thank you, Missy, for posting for me. Hey, Yvette. I think it's Yvette. My mom lives in Vero Beach. I fly into Orlando when I go to visit. What are your thoughts on carb cycling? I don't have many on them. I don't really teach my girls how to do things like that. When I used to do figure competitions, we did some stuff like that. This is how my coach did it back in the day. He would like, one day you're going to have a sweet potato with lunch. Next day, no sweet potato. He didn't even count macros. I mean, it was just like, keep it simple. I'm a big believer in keeping weight loss super simple. I think that if you just create meal plans, most of the time you're carb cycling naturally. But I don't do macros. I don't do all that stuff. I'm all about, like, let's eat healthy. Let's figure out, like, meal plans that you enjoy for yourself. Like, we do a lot of teaching around that. But, like, macros and things like that, it's not my shtick. A lot of first-time livers in here. I have 2 bags of chips in my kitchen for a party this weekend. I started to open them last night and looked down and saw my tat. Not today. Not today, Satan. Judy is one of my tribe members who literally got a PNP tat. You want to talk about tribe for life? Try getting branded. I am working on getting past the I deserve this when it comes to sweets at the end of the day. Any ideas on a new thought instead of this? Usually is a sweet treat at night. One of the things, Larissa, is really good is that you have identified that your gateway drug thought is for the sweets is I deserve this. I would make sure, like, try doing this for a week. This is where I talk about, like, it's just going to be work. Like, if you really want to not have that habit anymore, you need to pay the price with your work. So you sit down with paper and pen. Optional to cut your arm and do it in blood, just saying. But you're going to go through and you're going to write down, like, I deserve what? What do you ultimately deserve? You're eating the chocolate as a reward. You're like, a lot of that comes from a thought process of hard work earns rewards, rather than, like, what I would do is I would ask myself, if I'm really looking for a reward, or I'm really looking for something to, like, you know, good job or whatever it is, write down the rewards you got today that have nothing to do with the chocolate. A lot of you, what I see is when you have an I deserve this thought, it's because you're not really doing enough work on yourself of rewarding yourself with good, positive thoughts, telling yourself when you've done a good job, noticing every single time you eat on plan, like, all the things that you're doing that's amazing. Like, I want you to make a list of, like, before you eat chocolate, I want you to make a list of 10 amazing things I did today. And then I want you to make a list of, here's the things I deserve in life. And I bet you chocolate at the end of the day is not one of them. Now, here's the thing. I would put on your plan, Larissa, that you're going to have chocolate each night. But in order to get the chocolate, you have to do this work. And then you get to have the chocolate if you still want it. That is that pattern interrupt we were talking so much about yesterday in the tribe. It is also a really good, because you're one of my girls, it's also just a really good exercise in allowing that stopgap so that your brain can like go back to, oh, like I deserve this. You will have that time put between you and the chocolate to where you can be like, do I really want it? Am I willing to just like be like, okay, I'm not having it. I'll probably still want it, but that's okay. Like I'm willing to just go on to bed or whatever. But you're doing something that like teaches your brain how to think a different way while also putting a little distance between you and the food and giving yourself time to like move out of that immediate like think this, do this cycle. Melanie, 50 pounds down and 20 more to go. Started a more challenging weight training program. The scale went up about 4 pounds overnight and staying there for the last few days. I read this is common. Can you talk on this? It is common, Melanie. If you start, like, if I do leg day, I'm going to be up 3 pounds. I want you to think about your muscles. They're dry sponges most of the time. When you work them out, you're going to have more micro tears all throughout your muscles. And then the second you drink some water, they're going to fill up. The only way for muscle to build or muscle to repair, and during that repair process is where a lot of the calories are burnt, that like your body's revved up. The only way for it to do it is it has to have water, extra water for a while, because water is one of the catalysts for doing all the magic of making sure that you're getting tighter. And a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to build muscle. It's like, yeah, you do. You want to build muscle because when muscle's building, guess what's happening? It's relying on your fat stores to do some work. You really want your body tapping into fat stores, guys. You really do. Trust me on this. And then you look tighter and more compact the more you lose weight. You're probably just going to be, until your body regulates and gets used to this new pattern, you're probably going to be up a little bit for like probably a week or two. Then it will start normalizing. But man, if I ever do like I did sprints yesterday, I'm up 2 pounds today because my legs are sore and so are my abs. It's very common. It's very normal. Your scale is just going to be that way. What you want to do is you don't want to watch like an immediate trend. You want to watch overall trends. Weight loss is like this, but notice how it's going down. But it has spikes and dips, spikes and dips, spikes and dips. And that's what's happening. And then the other thing that I would say is always to reconcile with yourself. If I'm not if I'm not sitting around eating a bunch of shit and I'm like drinking my water, getting my sleep, not emotionally eating, and I'm working out, there's no way in hell that makes you gain weight. Just because the scale goes up doesn't mean I'm becoming a fat ass. It means my body's doing some stuff because I'm doing some stuff really good for it. And I'm going to give it some time. Good morning. Thank you for your learnings. Small wins have helped me lose 8 pounds. Awesome. What is your advice about weekend blow-ups, not with food, but with alcohol? I weekend drink with my partner and friends. We all eat very healthy, but drinks bottomless mimosas, and it's during those moments where I obsess about losing weight. What is your advice? Heather, here's what I would do. There's a friend of mine that has an amazing podcast. It's called Take a Break with Rachel Hart, H-A-R-T. I would go listen to her podcast. Her podcast is the same mental concepts that I teach. We're both master coaches from the same school, and we actually went through our master's program part together. So she's super smart, super good, and her whole program is about taking the exact same stuff I teach, and she applies it to alcohol. So I would just do that. I mean, I would get on there. She's got weekend stuff. I'd also go to my podcast. We have got we just did a 3-part series on weekends, just plug and play drinking. Like where I talk about food, you plug in your drinks. And that's what I would do. The other thing too is like figuring out, just having a very clear plan for yourself on the weekends. Start with a realistic one. It is no different than everything I teach in the tribe. It's even in my free course. You've got to learn how to commit to what you will drink. And your first commitment plans may look outrageous and not help weight loss, but you've got to break the cycle of effing it and blowing it up on the weekends. You got to start a cycle of following a plan, because once you get good at following a plan, then your brain doesn't feel weirded out when it's time to reduce the plan to get in line with weight loss. But most of you don't ever get those things in sync. Let's see. Let's take a couple more, guys. A lot of people this morning are surrounded by food. Let's see. What are some examples of good fat foods other than avocados? Nuts, seeds, like butter, cheese, like full fat cheese, full fat dairy. Like I'm a big nuts and seeds kind of girl, and of course all the oils, that kind of stuff. Those are the things. Like I throw like seeds on salads all the time, pine nuts. Almost every salad I ever eat has some kind of chopped up almond or cashew or something mixed in it. And then I use full fat dressings. I use ranch. I mean, I don't skimp on the dressings. The only time I ever do, there is this one yogurt-based dressing that I absolutely love. It is called, I think it's cilantro avocado by that Boathouse or somebody with a yogurt base. For some reason, I love that one. Usually, I don't like a lot of light dressings, but I love that one. It's so, like, it's got like a almost a crispness to it or something. I'm not sure, but it's really good on a salad. Emily, when on vacation, what self-talk do you say when faced with foods and snacks that won't get you to your goal? I plan the number of snacks on my travel, but want to eat snacks that are good, better, best, and will get me to my goal sooner than later. So when I'm on vacation, the self-talk, when I'm faced with foods and stuff, if I didn't plan it, I just say, like, just because I'm on vacation doesn't mean it's time to eat. Just mean, like, if you're going to go on vacation, we have a podcast on vacations, but here's my big thing about vacation. You set your intention before you go in. Like, I have vacations sometimes where I'm like, I'm ready to gain like 4 or 5 pounds because I know I can get it off when I get back, but I want to eat the food. That's what I want to do. I still make plans each day, but my plans are ridiculous. And y'all know, 2 trips ago, I posted my 24-hour plans to let you guys see, like, this literally is what I eat on vacation. Like, seriously, I think I had 6 drinks planned. I mean, I don't even remember what I was on. There was like some French fries going down. There was like all kinds of stuff. But I still practice those habits. The habits I don't like practicing are, I'm just going to have this. I'm just going to do this. This time's okay. Stuff like that. I'm always on the watch for those things, because those are the sneaky little habits that you'll practice that will send you back to your old habits really quick, because that's the stuff we do all the time when we're overweight. So if you start inviting them in tiny chunks, they're going to be like, woo, and have babies and run around and run amok like crazy real quick. So watching for that stuff. So a lot of times when I go on vacation, what I do is I like decide ahead of time, is this a vacation I want to maintain, lose weight, or gain weight? And I'm like, I got my back on all of them. There's no right or wrong. There's no beating myself up. It is like, we just need to know what we're doing on this vacation so that when we come back, we know exactly what we're doing when we come back. I always have a strong return home plan. When I come home, groceries are delivered or we pick them up or whatever, and it's like, it's easy food for 2 or 3 days. It's, like, we're going to get back into our habits immediately. I am not thinking, I'm like, oh, we'll go tomorrow. Let's just eat one more time, because then that spirals into 3 more days added onto your vacation of some shit-tastic food. Like, if you don't want to think about losing weight all the time, make some decisions ahead of time and quit thinking about it. So, like, for you, Emily, what I would do is I would just, like, say, like, if these snacks are not part of your thing, every time you see that, you just be like, oh, that's not part of my plan. I'm willing to sit here because I really want to honor what I said I would do. And then when your brain, it's that same thing. When your brain comes back around to, ooh, that looks good, and just be like, I'm choosing not to think about food right now. Go somewhere else. Like, take your brain somewhere else. So often you guys are always like talking about how you don't have time to think. Like, I just don't even have time to think. It's like, yeah, you do. You think a lot all the time. Just take your brain and make sure that it's thinking about the things you want it to be thinking about. Quit thinking idly. My daughter is home from college and she is an amazing cook. Will you help me with some power thoughts? I feel like it's raining amazing food around here. I was doing pretty well with my simple ways, and I know I need to stick to that, but it's like I've been taking baby steps, and then this huge mountain of amazing food is now surrounding me. Well, one of the things I would do is I would not call it a huge mountain of amazing food. You're making, like, really neutralize this. My daughter's home. She cooks food. Everything else is you creating like all this, like, oh, this is so hard. Oh, this is so, like, tell yourself, like, I don't want to give a lot of steam to this. So I just want to think, she's home and she cooks. Then you can just start saying, like, all right, if this is just food and it's not amazing and raining in my house, if it's just food, what are the ones that I like? What are the things that I want to feel around this? If you want to feel in control and you want to include some of them, then just say, like, you know what, on like Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm going to eat what she has, and I'm going to eat until I'm satisfied. I don't go back for seconds. I don't take bites and taste while she's cooking. Like, you can gamify all the things that you're willing to do and practice around it. Still partake if you want to. Or if you're just like, I really like my simple stuff, I'm willing for that part to seem like, you know, a little hard, but I want to practice eating these things. There's no right or wrong. Just don't do things from a place of like, I can't control it because it's so amazing. You know, if it wasn't so amazing, it would be easier. Like, don't even play into all that stuff, guys. Just get really good at like saying, it's food. I can think how I want about it. I can think about it in a way that's either going to help me or think about it in a way it's going to exhaust me. So I've been a groupie for about a month now. I had a food binge on Saturday. I even had the thoughts come in like, you were at a +2, stop. And I ignored that and kept on shoveling into my pie hole, ignoring all the Corinne talk. How would you suggest to really reel it in? This has always worked for me. I get to stop whenever I'm ready. Am I ready now? I would like every bite just be like, is it time? Because here's the thing, you're going to stop at some point. Like, you don't need to reel it back in. That suggests that you're out of control. I don't think there's ever any benefit of thinking about your eating as being out of control. The more you can think about what you want and not what you don't want about food, the better. So just allowing yourself to think, all right, when I'm doing a binge or whatever, I'm just going to tell myself, it will be able to stop when I'm ready. If I'm not ready at this bite, I'll ask myself the next bite and the next bite and the next bite. I'm willing, like, to have that level of discomfort of having the conversation with myself. And then, like, you know, a lot of times what I notice is when people have a binge, they go immediately into shaming themselves over it as if it was a terrible thing. And it's because they're making it mean there's something wrong with them. A binge means you ate a lot of food. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're never going to lose weight. It doesn't mean that you'll never have power over food. Like, all of that is what makes it so miserable and shameful. I always tell myself I will never waste one single opportunity to improve myself, including if I do a binge or I do an overdrink or if I do an overeat or whatever. I just refuse to waste opportunities. Everything you do is always going to have a lesson involved. Find the lesson. And guys, for some of you, especially for all my girls that binge eat, especially you tribe members that we coach all the time about binging, start thinking of them as like, I may need to have 300 of them before I finally find the thing that works that starts reducing them or changes the game for me or cuts them out almost completely for the rest of my life. Like, the process of working on it allows you to feel better about it. When it's one of those things where, and I'm reading and studying a lot about this because I want to do a lot of really hard work in our group about this stuff, but I think one of the biggest things is you have to move from feeling like it controls you to you getting authority back over it. And that often happens from a place of just getting to where it's like you collect yourself around it. I'm not saying you're at peace with it. I'm not saying you're in love with it and all this other stuff. But you start to understand it and you start to guide it. It's like, and these binges may happen, but you never allow yourself anymore to feel like they're happening to you. It's like, I chose to do it for a reason. And it's not good or bad. I just need to know why. Like, that's what I need to be. I need to be, like, ultra curious about it. Like, here are the feelings I need to have about it that's going to help me in the long run. And there may be some yucky feelings in there, but it's like, it's okay to feel yucky. I'm still looking for what's causing that part of it. And maybe that's why I'm still binging, because I'm still trying to figure out how all this works and why I keep choosing it. It's like a long answer, but there you go, Erica. I changed my eating habits for the good, staying on plan, started walking at lunch instead of eating 2 meals a day, but still no change in the scale, even though I feel like I have lost weight and in a smaller pant size. How is that possible? Well, if your pants are going down, you're losing weight. Sometimes on the scale, it's like, it measures more than just your fat. It measures your organs, it measures your bones. You could be increasing in a little, like some of your muscles changing. I mean, there's no telling. And I don't know how long this has been, if it's been a couple of weeks, if it's been a couple months and whatnot. As long as your measurements are coming down, I wouldn't get pissed. I mean, here's the thing. All right, I'm going to lop 10 pounds off the scale, but now you got to go back up in a pant size. Happy? Do you want to look smaller? Or do you want to be able to tattoo what you weigh on your forehead? Hey, look at me. I'm like 140. I look like I weigh 160, but I'm 140. Just so all of you know. Like, think about it like that. It's like, oh, I'm actually appearing smaller because I'm wearing smaller clothes. Maybe that should be like something that I don't get frustrated about. Let's see. What do you say to folks that say they don't seem to lose weight because they have a thyroid problem, asking for a friend? Usually what I tell them is that thinking you can't do something because of a thyroid makes you feel helpless. And do you want to keep feeling helpless? It's not a proven fact that thyroid issues prevent weight loss for every single person. So that it's not a fact that every single person with thyroid issues is not going to lose weight. How is it helping you to think it? I just say, like, all right, but are you willing to try lots of different things in the hope that you're one of the ones that can lose weight? The majority of my girls, like a lot of my girls with thyroid issues, lose weight. Once they quit feeling helpless and cut out their donkey ass eating, they're like, I'm amazed, I started losing some weight. It's like, yeah, this wasn't a thyroid thing. This was I was eating because I was frustrated with my thyroid thing. First, we work on that. Then there are times, I'm not going to say that there aren't people who, like, I've got a client who, she's got some health stuff, like a lot of health stuff. We actually coached the other day, and she's now exercising. She's just doing all the things. And like, we went through her food and whatnot. But she's on medication because like I forget what it is. She was telling me about it the other day. But like she has a lot of pain with food. So she only eats in these 4-hour windows because every time she eats, there's a lot of pain. So she has to take stuff to be able to eat to reduce the pain. Well, it's jacking the weight loss. And I said, okay. I said, but I want you to think about what you're doing. You're putting good quality food in. You're moving. You're living a better life. Staying frustrated that these pills that are required for you to not be in pain sucks. The alternative is to stay frustrated and be miserable, or stay frustrated and then just start eating whatever you want during your 4-hour window out of frustration. Or the other side of it is focus on what you're creating for yourself. Because the day that your body can release some weight or can do it, you've worked on all the habits you need mentally and physically and food-wise to like get on that weight train. Seriously. I don't think people we get so caught up in what's not happening or what we want right now that we forget about the big picture. And I like for you guys to think about the entire big picture. You've really helped me to separate my journey from my husband's. He wants to do the same thing, meal planning, that I plan, though meal planning. How do I keep his quits from becoming mine as well? You just don't quit when he quits. It's easy. If he quits, let him quit. It's like, just say like, his quits have nothing to do with me until I decide they do. If he quits, I'm not going to sit here and feel like I need to eat with him to make him feel better. I need to let him quit. I need to keep going. And I can love him through that. Can love both of us through that. And let me just tell you, like, think about it. If you quit along with him, ain't nobody going to get better. If you keep going, he may look at you and be like, maybe I should get right back on this. Ooh, I noticed she's not quitting when it gets hard. He might ask you, how do you do that? I can't guarantee that will happen, but you really raise the opportunity for it to happen if you don't quit. All right, let's see. As I'm looking for more stuff, guys, don't forget I have a podcast called Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. This live will be released on Saturday's podcast. So you can always, if you miss the lives, you can always catch them on Saturdays. And then the weekly podcast, the one that I do with my co-host, is on Friday mornings. They come out then. And let's do one more question. What's the best method you would recommend to steer away from the mindset of good versus bad foods and into the mindset that all varieties of food equal food? Example, carbs are bad, protein only is good, stuff like that. Well, I think the biggest thing is just to recognize that you're having, like, you're thinking in that way, and just be like, is it true? It's like, it's probably not. This is the funny thing. Like, I just tell people all the time, it's like, if you want to think that all varieties of food are healthy, then just start thinking that. Like, just remind yourself every time you want to create weird ass rules because you read something on Google Alert one day, or, circa 2011, there happened to be this article on bodybuilding.com that said, carbs are bad. Like, just tell yourself, there's a lot of information that I've read, but this is the information I'm choosing to believe now. Eventually, you really start creating that relationship. And it's really important because y'all get confused when I talk about, well, just don't think that anymore. What I really mean by don't think that anymore is I want you to be able to think it, but not care that you think it. That it has no power, that it does not matter. Like, I think crazy shit all the time. But it doesn't mean that, like I think there's several times we'll go to Vegas, there'll be a hot guy, and I think, woo, he's good looking. I don't sit there and go like, oh my God, now I'm a terrible wife. What does this mean about me? Are we going to get divorced? Or I don't think there's a hot guy, and the next thing I think is I should go over there and, bone him. Like, we can do the same things when it comes to just redirecting our mind. There's all kinds of thoughts we have all the time that we don't attach to. We don't make mean, terrible things, and we don't, react to. Do the same thing with food. You're going to have all these thoughts about carbs. You're going to have all these conflicting things. And rather than getting pissed and wishing you didn't know it and blah, 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 just be like, here are the things I'm choosing to believe right now. And then every time I try to think about all this other stuff, I'm just going to remind myself, this is the lane. I've learned a lot of stuff in the past. It doesn't all apply. And it's okay. It's totally okay. All right, guys. Y'all have a great one. I'll see you next. Actually, I won't be here next Wednesday. I will be in Dallas, Texas. So if I get to do a Facebook Live next week, it'll be on the road, but I will be in a meeting, so I will not be here at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you are on the mailing list at pnp411.com, if you go take the free course, you'll be on the mailing list. When I know when I can do a live, we will shoot out an email and let everybody know, hey, Corinne's going live on this day at this time or whatever. So you'll get notified, but only if you're on the mailing list. And if you're one of my tribe members, you don't have to worry about it. We'll let all of you know. You don't have to be on the PNP 411 mailing list to get that. We always let you give you guys a head up. All right, y'all have a wonderful day. And if you love the podcast, guys, I would love for you to go over to iTunes, rate and review us. They mean the world to me. Talk to you later. Bye, y'all.